Hello everyone, welcome back to Stock Market Meridian. Today is 5th August 2026 and you're watching today's pre-market report. Let's begin with the global markets. Starting with the US markets, all the major indices closed with strong gains. In fact, the Nasdaq surged by around 3.3%. However, if we look at the US index futures, the Nasdaq is currently trading in a neutral to slightly negative zone, while the remaining major indices are still trading in positive territory. Moving to the European markets, all the major indices also ended the session with positive momentum. Now coming to the Asian markets, Japan, China and South Korea are all currently trading in the green. So overall, global market sentiment remains positive for today's trading session. Now let's move to the commodities. US WTI crude oil is currently trading around $74 to $76 per barrel, while Brent crude oil is trading near $81 to $83 per barrel. Yesterday, Indian crude oil futures closed with a sharp decline of nearly 5.6%, while natural gas futures ended the session with gains of around 3.2%. Now, coming to the precious metals segment, Indian gold futures closed with gains of nearly 1%, while international gold futures are currently trading in the negative zone. Similarly, Indian silver futures ended the session with gains of around 2.2%, whereas international silver futures are also trading in the negative zone. Now, let's check the ADR data. Yesterday, on the negative side, only HDFC Bank ADR closed weak. On the positive side, Infosys, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Reliance Industries, and ICICI Bank ADRs ended with strong gains. Interestingly, Wipro ADR closed almost completely flat with a neutral bias. So overall, the ADR data is indicating a neutral to slightly positive sentiment for today's Indian market. Now, moving to the FII and DII activity. Yesterday, after many trading sessions, DIIs turned net sellers, mainly because of a large block deal executed during the session. DIIs were net sellers of 936 crore rupees, while FIIs remained net buyers with 2,446 crore rupees. So despite DII selling, the overall institutional activity remained positive, which is a good sign for market sentiment. Now, let's check today's economic calendar. Yesterday, the US job openings JOLTS data came in lower than both the previous reading and market expectations. Today, the market will closely watch India's July PMI data, the US ADP non-farm employment change, services PMI and non-manufacturing PMI data for July, and the US crude oil inventories report. But the most important event for Indian markets today is the RBI Monetary Policy decision. The RBI governor is expected to begin the policy announcement at around 10 a.m. At present, the market is expecting the RBI to keep interest rates unchanged, not only in this meeting but possibly in the next one as well. However, if the RBI unexpectedly changes interest rates today, the market could witness a very sharp reaction. Even if the RBI keeps rates unchanged but gives any indication of a future rate hike or rate cut, that guidance alone could create significant volatility across the markets. And tomorrow, another important event is the US initial jobless claims data. Before moving further, a quick reminder. I upload pre-market reports every morning before the market opens and post-market reports every evening after the market closes. So if you don't want to miss important market updates, make sure you stay connected with Stock Market Meridian. Now let's move to the latest geopolitical updates. Fresh developments have emerged from the Middle East as well as East Asia. Starting with Iran, sources close to the Iranian negotiating team have stated that no direct negotiations have taken place with the United States. Iran says it is currently negotiating only with Oman regarding future arrangements for the Strait of Hormuz. According to the same sources, the United States has been sending mixed signals directly and through regional partners, making the negotiation process more complicated. Iran also believes that even if an agreement is reached with Oman, it alone will not guarantee full security in the Strait of Hormuz, as future US or regional actions could still affect stability. Interestingly, while the US continues to suggest that negotiations with Iran could progress within the next day or two, Iran's latest statements tell a completely different story. Meanwhile, tensions between Saudi Arabia and the Houthis continue to rise. According to official regional updates, fighting has intensified across both air and sea routes. Operations at Najran Airport, located near the Yemen border, have been suspended indefinitely after reports of radar damage. Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Saree claimed responsibility for the attack, stating that a drone successfully struck a sensitive military target inside the airport. The Houthis say the strike was retaliation for alleged Saudi drone operations over Yemeni territory. This comes shortly after the Houthis announced a maritime blockade against Saudi Arabia, along with attacks targeting oil tankers and energy infrastructure. Now, shifting to East Asia, North Korea has strongly criticized Japan following its recent Tomahawk missile test. Kim Yo-jong, the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, announced that North Korea will introduce new military measures in response to what it described as Japan's growing security threat. So overall, uncertainty surrounding the Strait of Hormuz, continued tensions in the Middle East, and rising military activity in East Asia continue to keep global geopolitical risks elevated. Now, let's move to the companies that announced their quarterly results after yesterday's market close. First, Bharti Airtel delivered a good set of quarterly numbers. Except for a slight decline in EBITDA margin on a quarter-on-quarter basis, almost every other financial parameter improved strongly. Overall, the results were positive. Next, ONGC reported a mixed performance. Revenue improved, but most other earnings parameters declined, which was largely expected because of the recent spike in crude oil prices. So this isn't considered a new negative surprise for the company. Next, BSE Ltd once again delivered an excellent set of results. Almost every earnings parameter improved significantly. Only revenue saw a slight sequential weakness. Overall, the results were very strong. Next, Marico also posted a good set of quarterly numbers. Except for a slight sequential decline in EBITDA margin, all other financial parameters improved strongly. Overall, the results were healthy. Next, Nykaa delivered a very strong set of quarterly results. Its net profit surged more than 225% year-on-year, while revenue and other earnings parameters also showed healthy growth. Overall, the results were excellent. Next, Kalyan Jewellers posted a mixed set of results. Revenue improved both on a yearly and quarterly basis. However, EBITDA, net profit and margins declined on a sequential basis, while margins also weakened on a year-on-year basis. Overall, the results were slightly weak. Next, Deepak Nitrite delivered an outstanding set of quarterly numbers. EBITDA increased by more than 150% year-on-year, while net profit jumped by over 200% year-on-year. Overall, the results were extremely strong. Next, Alembic Pharma reported mixed results. Net profit declined sequentially, while net profit margins weakened both year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter. The remaining financial parameters showed healthy improvement. Overall, the results were mixed. Next, United Breweries reported mixed quarterly numbers. Revenue and EBITDA improved strongly. However, net profit and margins declined. Overall, the results were slightly weak. Next, NHPC posted mixed results. Revenue, EBITDA and EBITDA margins improved strongly. However, net profit declined on a yearly basis, while net profit margins weakened on both yearly and quarterly comparisons. Overall, the results were slightly weak. Now, coming to the GIFT Nifty. Yesterday, GIFT Nifty closed around the 24,770 level, and today it has opened at almost the same level. This indicates a muted start for the Indian markets, with the possibility of a flat to slightly gap-up opening. However, as always, the actual market direction will also depend on the RBI Monetary Policy announcement later today, which could significantly impact market sentiment and increase volatility during the session. And that's all for today's pre-market report. Let me know in the comments which company you're tracking the most, and also tell me which company's quarterly results you'd like me to cover in detail in today's post-market report. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Stock Market Meridian. I'll see you again this evening with today's post-market report. Thank you so much for watching. Signing off, Jai Hind.